Hello, this is Matt Hovermale. I'm going to be narrating the human behavior and goal setting PowerPoint for you. So, the introduction. This is the introduction. We're going to talk about the trans-theoretical model, the implementation intentions, and motivational interviewing. These are all tools that you can use with firefighters that need your help. So, the Salt Lake City holistic approach. The following approaches have been proven as effective techniques for eliciting change in the areas of exercise, diet, addiction, and mental health. These are all backed up by studies. This isn't just bro science. These models and approaches emphasize that the firefighter is going to be the one who will make a lifestyle change, not the CFC or an authority figure. Any one of these or a combination of the three may be what a department member needs to make a positive lifestyle change. So in keeping with the holistic approach, you could use this for fitness, diet, or mental health, or any kind of goals. So the trans-theoretical model sounds pretty complicated. It's actually pretty simple. The big idea in the trans-theoretical model is that change happens not in a linear path, but more of a cycle. People take a while to change their behavior. Only a minority of the population, less than 20%, is prepared to take action at any given time. And it just really emphasizes that this is a process that happens over time. This is something that I've noticed when I've tried to change my own behavior. So the process of change can happen in a linear fashion, but frequently you'll make some progress and then you'll fall back and regress. So the pre-contemplation phase, you're not even aware of changes or things that you might want to change. The contemplation phase is when you're kind of know that, hey, I need to make a change either in my diet or my workout routine. Action is when you actually start doing that, and then maintenance is the follow-up and the maintaining of whatever you decided to change. So pre-contemplation, the person has no intention of making a change in the next 6 months. This could be due to being uninformed about the consequences of one's actions. I use the example of the smoker in the 40s who had no idea they wanted to change and didn't know that smoking was bad for them. People in this stage are frequently characterized as resistant, unmotivated, and unready. I think you could also say that they're unconsciously incompetent, to borrow a phrase from Captain Crandall. Contemplation. In this stage, people intend to change in the next 6 months. People in this stage are aware of the benefits of changing, but are also aware of the cons. The pros for change have not outweighed the cons for the current situation. And I think a lot of people spend a lot of time in this. You're afraid to make that jump. It seems too hard. That probably being like the biggest con to any kind of change in your lifestyle. I know I've spent a lot of time in the contemplation phase. Preparation. This is when you decide in your head that you're going to take action the next month. These people have a plan of action, joining a gym, talking to a counselor, whatever. And they're receptive to action-oriented programs. So these are the people that when they see that pamphlet or a CFC happens to mention something about a new, or not new, but a workout routine or a diet change, these are the people that are receptive to it. Action. In this stage, the individual has made a specific overt modifications to their lifestyle. Remember, this is just one stage in a continuum. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This is when they start making that change. Maintenance, I think this is kind of funny that they say that it can last from 6 months to 5 years. I'm not sure what happens after 5 years if you keep doing it. If you're still in the maintenance phase, it doesn't make sense to me. Make a change and you stick with it, then I guess that's what matters. So there's some concepts that tie into this decisional balance, and that's just a pro and con sheet of, the weight of the pros and cons change as the individual progresses through the stages of change. Cons outweigh the pros until preparation phase. So once you take action, I would say, for me, it would be the action phase where you actually start doing it. That's when the pros win. Self-efficacy, the degree of confidence individuals have in maintaining a behavior change in situations where they are tempted to relapse to old behaviors. So you can build self-efficacy for members by eliciting periods in their life where they've made changes and it's been a success. You can say, in the past you did this, in the past you stopped drinking soda, and, sounds like that was tough for you. Why don't you build on that and maybe complete this? That's just one of the ways that you can build self-efficacy. CFCs can motivate change by increasing the understanding of the pros and diminishing the value of the cons. The majority of at-risk populations are not prepared for action and will not be served by traditional action-oriented prevention programs. Helping people set realistic goals, like progressing to the next stage, will facilitate the change process. And I think what they're really getting at there is just realizing that you're not going to go from the very beginning to the maintenance phase overnight or within a week. I think if you can advocate for members to maybe make a plan, maybe like list out the pros and cons of a desired change, just get them somewhere on that path, that will help. They don't need to hit the action phase right off the bat. Studies have shown that the programs that are tailored to pros and cons do better than those that are not. Programs that emphasize self-efficacy and recognize the stages of change are more effective than programs that don't. So again, it comes back on the member. You're just there to help the member. You can't do it for them. I think we all know that. And this video, hopefully it is an active link. It's a very good video that explains this much better than I do. So, implementation intentions are simply if-then plans that spell out in advance how one wants to strive for a goal. First, you got to have the goal, and that's probably should have been the first bullet point. For the if component, a critical cue is selected, like maybe a good opportunity and anticipated obstacle. And this is linked to a goal-directed response in the then component. So if then operate on the same principles as SOGs and EMS treatment algorithms, they delegate control to situational cues. So if you look at, you have a goal in mind and then you have some if-then rules, you can almost play it like a full arrest treatment tree. If we have VFib, we shock. We don't sit and debate and think about, different ways we could go about doing that. We just know that when we see that, this is what we do. It eliminates that whole decision-making process that you've seen other people and you've probably seen yourself get mired in. So here's some examples. I intend to reach X, which would be the future outcome or behavior. In order to do that, if I see situation Z, then I will perform the goal-directed response Y. So, examples: reducing alcohol consumption would be my goal. If a waiter suggests ordering a second drink, then I'll order tap water, or I'll order a glass of milk, or whatever. You already have that pre-programmed, so you don't have to fret about it. You just do it. Here's another one. Increase upper body strength. Every time our crew receives an alarm, that means when I get back, I'm going to do 10 burpees and 10 pull-ups. By having this as a preset response, the individual has taken the decision-making out of the equation on the front end. Analysis based on close to 100 studies shows a medium to large effect on increased rate of goal attainment. By creating an associative link between the if and the then, when the critical cue is encountered, the goal-directed response has features of automaticity. You just do it, you don't think about it. It's just your reality. Individuals do not have to deliberate when they encounter cues in the world. By forming these plans, individuals can automate goal striving. And it's been confirmed by MRI studies as well. And instead of the normal top-down control of actions, people can transition to bottom-up control from situational stimuli. And that's all neat and fine, but it only works when the commitment to the goal is high. So you've really got to want to attain your goal. People with high self-efficacy fared much better than those with low self-efficacy. Health goals like diet, regular exercising, etc., cannot be accomplished by just one of these. You're going to need several, or it might be a combination of different techniques. That's just one more tool that you can use in your toolbox. If-then rules that use negative for the then are less effective. You should have a replacement, not just if I encounter this, I'm just not going to do it, is not really an if-then. That's just a negation. So, the example, if the captain offers me a donut, then I will say no, isn't as effective as saying, if the captain offers me a donut, then I will eat an apple or whatever. You'll have a different replacement. And they really, like what I've read is, you really need to create a mental picture of these situational cues. You've got to have an idea really spelled out in your mind's eye of like what's going to happen, what all the little minutiae around it, and then your response will be more effective. Mental contrasting. In mental contrasting, people imagine the attainment of a desired future. Say an example would be regular exercise, and then reflect on the obstacles, time commitment, you're tired, lack of sleep, whatever, of present reality that stand in the way of attaining that desired future. The obstacles that are envisioned are then given the if category, and the appropriate goal-oriented then is formulated to make the future goal a reality. So they found that people that used mental contrasting fared better than people that didn't. And here's another video for you to watch. It's pretty short. It's good. And then I attached an action planning worksheet that you can use with members if you want. And there it is. Pretty simple. It's so simple it doesn't seem like it should work, but it does. So some takeaways. When coming up with your if-then plan, visualize where you'll be, when it could happen, who will be there, and what you will do. And remember, negative plans are less effective than plans that involve replacements. Okay, motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is thrown around a lot with social workers. They use it quite a bit. And CFCs are kind of like social workers in a way. Motivational interviewing is a collaborative conversation to strengthen a person's own motivation for commitment to change. It is based on 3 principles. Collaboration. It's a partnership between the CFC and the individual with the focus on coming to a mutual understanding and not the CFC saying, I'm right, you're wrong, this is what you need to change. That just doesn't work. Evocation. The CFC focuses on drawing out the individual's own thoughts and ideas about making a change. Lasting change is more likely to occur if the individual discovers their own reasons for change. So if you can guide them to discover this on their own, it's much more effective instead of you telling them what they need to do. Autonomy versus authority is up to the individual, not the CFC, to change. This is empowering the individual and puts the responsibility squarely on the individual. And I think we all can agree the world needs more of that. So how do you employ it? You can express empathy. Really try to see where the member's coming from. Try to live in their shoes, at least in your mind, for a bit, and this will help you understand their situation, and it'll help build rapport. They'll trust you more if they know that you care about their situation. And then support self-efficacy. The individual has to believe that change is possible. CFC should have the individual focus on previous successes and strengths. This is what the member is going to build on. If they've made change in the past and it's been lasting, you should really be the cheerleader for that. Roll with resistance. Resistance occurs when the individual experiences conflict between their view of the problem or solution and that of the CFC. CFCs should not confront the individual, but should let these conflicts go. CFCs should invite the firefighter to examine other points of view and come up with their own solutions. Again, it's not a matter of who is right. You're not there to prove yourself. You're proving yourself by going through all this training. Develop discrepancy. The CFC should help the firefighter examine the discrepancies between their current circumstance, behavior, and where they want to be. So try to elicit that from them, saying, right now you're here, where do you want to be? And what's standing in your way? So I think there's only one acronym in this PowerPoint, or maybe there's two. ORS, open-ended questions. Ask questions that don't elicit a yes or no response. And this is just like obtaining a good patient history. We don't need to go over that one. Affirmations. Use statements that recognize the firefighter's strengths. They must be genuine. Affirmations can remind the individual that change is possible. This encourages self-efficacy. So don't come up with, if you don't have anything that's genuine, I myself wouldn't use an affirmation unless I had something that was genuine and that I knew would resonate with them. I think every firefighter would see right through you if you give a non-genuine affirmation, that it would just go over like a lead balloon. Reflective listening. This is the most important skill. Careful listening and reflective responses let the individual know that you understand their perspective. The CFC should guide the individual to examine the negative aspects of this status quo. Summaries. The CFC recaps what the individual has expressed. This allows the CFC to highlight important elements and naturally moves the individual to move on. Summaries can highlight both sides of the client's ambivalence about change and promote the development of discrepancy by strategically selecting what information should be included and what can be minimized or excluded. So that's where you really drive the conversation as a CFC. You want to steer them to that goal of seeing the discrepancy. Motivational interviewing attempts to foster dissonance between a client's unhealthy status quo behaviors, binge drinking, smoking are some big ones, and their own healthy goals. Living a long life, being a good partner, being a good father, being a good wife, in the hope that focusing on the dissonance will motivate the client to change. Again, this comes from them. So here's some takeaways. Historically, it was believed that just supplying the knowledge was enough, and they found that just giving the knowledge about, say, how bad smoking is wasn't totally effective. There needs to be more. So knowledge times motivation divided by that resistance to change will equal change. So the knowledge at times the motivation has to win out. CFCs can provide the knowledge component, but the individual provides the rest. Again, another video. Hope it plays well for you. So that was quick and dirty. This is the conclusion. These techniques and models can be utilized by CFCs when helping firefighters effect change in their lives, careers, and retirements. They have been proven effective in areas of fitness, diet, addiction, and mental health. Remember that all of these techniques place the responsibility and ownership of the change on the individual, not the CFC. Your role as a CFC is to facilitate the firefighter realizing and attaining his or her goals. All right, thanks for listening.